we are, Mark, winging it again.
Back on the road.
Back on the road.
In Toronto.
You're gonna see some real people in real time and space.
Yes.
We're heading across town to DuPont Lansdowne to see Ashley Johnson and Kathryn Bemrose. So this is Kathryn's side.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so these things come out like that. So these that she's busy working on.
Wow, yeah. So I'm assuming you built all this,
Yeah.
the walls, the movable walls and everything? Wow.
It's a lot of work lying around.
Well, and this is
We need twice the amount of space.
well, this is such a great way to create more space, right? It's like when you go into Home Depot and they have like 3 layers of, like the small ones, they have like 3 layers of tools.
They're brilliant.
Aren't they awesome?
That is
For painting.
phenomenal. You need to photograph that, right? We've got to
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
Brilliant.
It is totally brilliant. That is
It's
amazing.
a barn it's a barn door thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yes,
right.
okay.
It's right.
Yeah. And then I just put
Like
Wood on the
troughs or
floor.
something. Oh, you just created a trough with the
That is
2x4 and the 4x4 or whatever. 2x4, yeah.
Yeah.
6.
How amazing is that?
Yeah, so you just got so much more space.
Yes,
You got
just
several more
added-
walls.
Yes.
And these
Added walls.
things when you put on some of these things,
Yeah.
you can actually hang
That is
here as well.
Right. And then that can fold back this way.
It folds like this.
Oh,
and
oh,
it
it's,
folds in over here.
oh,
So when that happens, the whole space opens up. So what you see is quite closed.
yes, no, I can imagine more open space.
And we're in Kathryn's half of the studio.
Half of her work, yeah.
And now these works are for an upcoming show.
Yes.
And so can you tell us a little bit about the
Yes,
show?
my upcoming show is at 401 Richmond at Marc Gallery. It's in the lower level and it starts November 6th.
I don't.
All the
yeah.
work I do is in oil, so I have to make sure it's dry by the end of September so that it can be framed. Ashley will frame it. My partner Ashley will make and do the framing. And off we go. So I have a show about every year and a half, which is a decent amount of time to get work together and stuff like that. And I love the dates of shows because it pushes you, drives you forward.
Yeah, that
Like,
having that
you can
deadline, I
easily
agree that.
get
Yeah,
waylaid somewhere else,
yeah.
but you always have that date out there or something out there.
Yeah,
But,
when I showed at Loop, I like that too. It was every 18 months, and it's like
Yeah.
there was sort of like this cycle of 6 months of experimenting, and then the last year of okay, but
Yeah,
Let's focus.
Deadlines are a great motivator.
yeah,
yeah.
Is there a title to the show?
Yes, Stuck in Paint.
Stuck in Paint.
That's a quote from Sylvia Plath.
Oh,
nice,
beautiful.
nice.
I just happen to have read an article. You start reading. Well, I'm reading Joseph Conrad right now, so I can come up with all kinds of phrases. But Sylvia Plath said,
I mean, yeah, it's
"Painter's stuck in paint."
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought,
That's a
boy,
gold mine.
are
of-
we ever stuck in paint? It's true. It's true.
And you were saying you live in paint in a way, right? Because this used to be, one of these spaces used to be a living room, and now it's all studio.
This has always been my studio,
Right.
and it's never been any bigger than this.
Mhm.
So I've always found it substantial amount of space. Everything here is on wheels. You can push it around.
Including the walls we've discovered.
Yeah.
Or at least,
Yeah.
yes, they're on wheels and tracks.
And the walls.
Yeah. Yes.
This one.
I did a couple of pieces, and I was,
This one?
yeah, that's
So-
good.
So these are more architectural and
It's much more structured, and
Yeah.
it's about something.
yeah.
Like, I can go either way on this stuff, as most artists can, but these two, this is outside the window, and this is the CPR. I guess, would that be the CPR, the CNR coming through across?
So the
pond?
chain.
And those are the stoplights, and in the summer, they're shrouded in trees.
Mhm.
And I was looking at, I have a partial vision, and I was looking at, I only saw this structure. I never saw that structure. And it was moving in the trees, and I thought of it as a World War I soldier standing among the trees. And then I thought of it as all those soldiers on the railway line going in to be sent out, possibly for World War One, due to the outfit, the tilt of the hat. So that became my soldier, and I consider.
So they're kind of anthropomorphic.
yeah, anthropomorphic for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And then this guy following him is the funeral director. He's death is following him. And it's just in the.
So
So that became my.
Mm.
I always check to make sure they haven't torn it down.
Mm.
Are you there? Are you there? And we can see it out the window. We have a Juliet balcony. You just sit there and look out.
So those are quite in contrast with these other works that are so colorful and expressive and
Yeah, that's another
And
part.
abstract.
That's another part of. You know,
sort of that's
different
just sort
kind
of balance,
thinking,
doing different
kind of
things.
thinking.
I know the show before. It had bird in the title. Had
Birdland.
birdland.
Yeah, Birdland.
Had
Birdland.
bird, but also they were abstract and
Abstracted, and they were fun. I felt that they were due to the fact that they were something. They were safer,
sure.
and they were safer for everybody. And you didn't have to work to look at them. You
sure.
enjoy looking at them.
There was a way
did
in,
enjoy
yeah,
looking at
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And that was quite a successful show. I don't expect this show to be as successful because a lot of people don't see abstract as a way of speaking.
Sure.
But I see it as more speaking and a tendency to push your limits and push your own, get rid of your own fears, address your fears, and I'm afraid to do this.
Yeah, I mean, Marc and I.
It comes
yeah.
down to moving forward with yourself more
Sure.
with abstract.
Well, and so we talk about this often because we both do abstract and figurative. And, people have this mistaken idea that abstract art is easy, when to do a really good abstract painting is sometimes harder because when something is representational, even if the composition is crappy, people relate to it. It's already there.
It's recognizable.
It's recognizable.
This
It's
is
a face. It's a person. It can just, it can be adequately drawn, and that's it. Whereas to do an abstract, I don't know. It just
Do something you haven't done. Always do something you haven't done.
Yeah,
Even move your arm differently.
Yeah.
Anything you've done, try to do it differently. Therefore, they're all different, right? but they're all, unfortunately, you don't quite get away from yourself. No matter how hard you push, it's still you pushing, and you still have your own calligraphic moves that are yours.
Right.
And the other thing that I think is quite true, depending on what, somebody will say that's crap, but I think depending on the year you were born, you pick up a visual culture of possibly about a decade of shape, angles, the whole
interesting,
approach to the whole approach to looking at things, and what you have around you will be different than in 20 years when this other group of people are making art and coming up with possibly an entire
Well, there's different
kind of
vocabulary,
art,
different
different vocabulary,
influences. You know, just thinking about the different types of media.
And you can tell. You can look at a painting that's abstract, and you can say, "I bet that guy was born around 1950." And sure enough.
Can you?
And I always say to people, don't paint the refrigerator. The shape of the refrigerator is very telling. I come from a rounded shape of the refrigerator. Oh.
Can you specify, like, can you mention specific influences or cultural objects that might be, say, in a work like what we're seeing here, that might have informed the gestures, the vocabulary that you're working in here?
I hope not. I hope
That is subconscious.
I hope I don't know. Except there is something very common that I do.
Mhm.
And spatial composing from a television can often look like a poster that someone's made, or I think things like television and how it's composed and organized to be seen is often how we might start to paint. It is back in there, and there's a spatial difference. And I think there was about a 2.5 to a 3-inch spatialness of someone born in the 50s. And it's about that width of brush. This is on a big canvas, a bigger canvas.
Right.
So that there's kind of an evenness. I look for it. I look to see if I did the evenness the way I always do it.
The balance.
Right.
Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah.
balance. I'm looking
Yeah,
for my
yeah.
own balance,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
my balance comes from the beginning, right, of when we start looking around.
Well, and there become marks that we identify with
Yes.
ourselves.
And
You
the
know.
space between the marks is also, because kids today are making tiny little spaces and big spaces. They're seeing more movement of objects moving and coming close and going apart.
Right.
They have a much more breathing kind of feel with their, or jammed up or separated, but mostly jammed up. Most of the stuff is quite busy.
There's a
Busy.
lot of that sort of maximalism.
Yeah. Because I've known them forever, and Ashley was up there dying, and pushing, and we'd grab them, and we'd sit them up, and
So you
and
created your
Ashley
own
made an
elevator.
elevator.
You've created your own elevator?
And
So
that's
where-
how
where
he
is-
got
where
all
is
his
there?
paintings down for you.
It hangs off the beams.
Yeah.
So I move the hook up the chain, and then I shift it so that it can drop down and load up all the paintings, and then it's got a button,
Hey, do you
up and
wanna-
down button.
Do you want to bring me down in the elevator?
No.
Hello.
Fun! Then you guys can do that on your own time. So your works, I think the thing that first struck me about your work is that there were sort of some hybrid images, which is
Yeah.
something that I love and work
Yeah.
with, and then this integration of figure, representational, and abstract.
Yes, it's very much. I don't see abstract and figuration as being separate things. I see them as part of the toolbox, and
Sure.
you need mystery as well. So you need-
Absolutely, yeah.
So these pieces all have sort of almost an animal quality to them,
Yes, there's an energy of nature and animal.
and I try to almost, I would say, I call it loosening identity. So what I mean by that is that it's almost like trying to make a painting into a verb instead of a noun, something that moves and shifts. Almost, you could almost look at the same spot and find that it shifted. So, like here, you could be looking at air, you could be looking at water. It's kind of like the
Yeah,
two
yeah.
are combined.
So when I was working in sort of semi-abstract for a while, and I liked the idea of creating a painting that, with the feeling like if I turned away and turned back, it rearranges itself. You know, and when you have this sort of kinetic movement, it sort of suggests that, right? Like,
Yeah.
or it's certainly every time you look, you're going to see something different, or
They sort of grow as well. It's like an intuitive process. It's not that you unnecessarily start knowing what I'm going to do, but
right. So you
Integrate
you're a
things
very
as I
process-based
go
painter
along.
where you're kind of experimenting and playing as you.
yeah.
I mean, I guess once you commit to an image, that's
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
part of it. But
I feel it's quite important to move a little bit away from sort of humanism to start trying to include animals and environment,
yeah,
and try to see ourselves in some ways as part of something as opposed to
right. So the ecology and sort
Yeah.
of a larger, I think I've been following your work probably for 5 or 6 years
Yeah.
on Facebook, and some of your ideas. There also seems to be some questioning about, well, you know, the environment and our ethics around, you know, how we treat animals, how we treat the environment. I don't know if that.
and our thinking about ourselves, because we've kind of defined reality, but it's a huge assumption. And
Right. Yes. I
We've-
I can remember a couple of exchanges we've had
Yeah.
about, like, you know, it sounds like you read some like physics and some sort of, like, a lot of that stuff. The thing I find interesting is the deeper you get into science, the more it's like mysticism, and the less the more things are potential as opposed to absolute.
there's a window of opportunity. Like it could
Yeah.
it could be different.
Yes, yeah. And you know, the when you go in there, the deeper, like, physics, they enjoy that questioning, right?
Yeah.
You know, this is the way it seems, but we don't know for sure.
Yes.
If we just look at this piece for a second.
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna do some.
Because the viewers should see.
Oh, I
that-
know. You're protecting.
The viewer should see that how the abstraction and the figuration worked here. It's almost as if, and it's hard to say which is dissolving and which is coming into solidity, right? You can see there's is it an orangutan?
Yeah.
Yeah, an
it's,
orangutan and an orangutan child.
It's called Extinction Madonna.
And this is the child.
Have you ever seen Parmigianini's
I was
Madonna
going to
with the
say,
long neck?
this looks familiar. Yes. So it's the mannerist.
Yeah, so I've taken, it's almost a decomposition or a death image.
Yes.
So that baby is the weirdest
Yes.
Christ baby I've ever seen.
Yes.
And so it's like he's inserted into something, and the orangutan mother and child is as present as the Madonna. It's like,
Right.
Yeah, it feels like there's.
I think
At least-
Masaccio did a Madonna and baby much like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like there's 2 or 3 layers of reality blending or superimposing.
It feels like the Matrix is about to is kind of coming apart, and we're now seeing the abstract background is starting to come out. But
Right.
again, it's hard to say where is the ground, where is the foreground, where is the background. The interplay is just fascinating. Almost like it's the hidden
Ooh,
word.
yeah.
Wow.
I like that. Red is so visceral.
Now this feels kind of anatomical. Is that right?
Yeah, it's called impregnate. Thinking of paintings as verbs again.
Yeah.
So it tries to almost reference the entire process of impregnating, and the fallopian tubes have become like person. It's like a person. So it's kind of it's almost trying to encapsulate the whole process and give birth, if you like. So the birthing is the realization of the whole complicated thing.
It's a life process.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of like the whole right from conception through fertilization, through gestation, through.
But it's just a metaphor, so it's not done in any particular way. It's just kind of like
I see a sort of or feel a just very vague reference to some Bacon, Francis
Yes.
Bacon. Just seeing that arm on the side.
Yes.
and trying again there to do it in a way that you've given enough definition, but you haven't
Yeah.
formed it.
Yeah. I love that.
Although in this painting here, I suppose it's a similar thing, but some parts of the body is
A
formed.
little more, yeah.
It just depends, where you need it and where you don't.
Are you working in oils as well?
No, these are all acrylic.
Oh, these
Oh,
are
you're
acrylic. So
working
we've got
acrylic.
acrylic versus oils. Do you ever get into debates about that?
No, I'm really glad he doesn't use it.
I couldn't use oil. It's one oil painter in the house is enough.
Yeah, I would not have guessed. It's so like the modulation is so sensual the way oil is.
Exactly.
I mean, I've worked both in oil and mostly acrylic for 35 years, and finally, with a lot of experimentation, and do you use like gel mediums and retarders and
A
stuff?
lot of things.
Yeah.
There's a little one here. If you
Look at that.
look at it, you'll
It's-
see
oh my gosh.
it's got almost like a sheen of
Yeah.
oil.
Right. Yes. You
But
get
it's
the
not oil.
sensuousness,
It's
right?
not oil. It's
Is it a gloss medium?
something like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, here we go. Have you guys been going crazy with the planes?
Competing with the air show.
I know a lot of my West End friends have been complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, like there's so much mystery in this. Just those shapes have so much mystery. And
I think maybe that's the aim of painting is to have a mysterious.
yeah, oh, absolutely.
Thing,
I totally. That's my MO for sure. You know, mystery and magic and
This painting here is called macrophage, so it's internal bodily things, sort of again thinking about COVID and stuff like that. So the macrophage would be our bodily defense.
oh, okay, yes,
defense
yes,
against-
yes.
So it consumes viruses. It's called the big eater, and so it's our body's defense, if you like.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Let me do this one too. So this one here seems to have more abstract elements and
It's
not
a
quite.
lot more abstract.
Yeah.
It's still in process, so
Yeah.
it's not finished.
There is a critter though here. This is
Yeah.
either
Yeah,
Yes.
a fish or a lobster. It's hard to.
it's an ant.
An ant.
An ant.
Okay, I was gonna say insect next.
Yeah, this is an insect painting. So
Okay.
it's,
Do you have any shows coming up?
unfortunately, no. It's this. I was very lucky enough to get the Contagia painting
Yeah.
into the Art Gallery of Peterborough, and then in the COVID period. So
Okay. Yeah.
they had extended. I think it was there for about 4 or 5 months.
Nice.
But so that was nice, but we didn't get to go and see it.
Right.
or anything.
Oh.
So
Uh,
they don't. I don't really see a gallery, an appropriate gallery here in Toronto. I'm not sure.
were you part of Headbones for a while?
Yeah.
You were. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
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 They were on Logan or Carlaw?
Carlo.
Carlaw. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Ashley's also a writer.
Yes. Well, I was reading some of your reviews. Were they on Art Toronto or?
Yeah.
There was a site,
something,
yes, yeah. I used to do reviews 20 years ago, quite a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if...
I haven't done
Yeah.
a review for a little while, but
So, this is sort of a very different painting.
that's Kath.
That's yours, eh?
Yeah, that's my Ridgeback puppy in Algonquin Park. I lived there for 4 years.
Okay.
82, 86. She was my buddy.
Studio dog.
I like
I
the
always felt
fluidity
it
of
was
the
important to have a
painting.
studio dog. There's some life form, cat, dog,
Yeah.
some life form around besides yourself,
Yeah,
just to remind you that there is life out there beyond the frame, as it were.
she had a reaction to the oil paint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
bad.
her eyelids
Oh.
glued shut
Oh, no.
Oh.
from the thinner. And she opened her eyes and it was all white, so I took her to that. And he said, "Are you painting?" Right off the bat. So,
Interesting.
yeah. So the dogs animals are on the bottom level of the heavy. Anything heavier than air, they're breathing it all in.
Oh, yeah, think about it, eh?
So
Oh, and he said,
better
man,
not to have them
charcoal
straight.
wouldn't be good too. That would all fall down towards.
And
Yeah,
acrylic is for velvet.
so, I mean,
Yeah.
this is the first time, well, you know, we've interviewed one other couple that were both artists, and just if it's comfortable to talk about what that dynamic is like, whether you feel like you're influencing each other or you inspire each other, or, you know,
I think that we coexist pretty well. You often find that you need to guard what you say because you actually don't want to overpower somebody else's
Sure.
image
Their
with your
process and
ideas.
yeah.
Yeah, there's none of
It's
that.
like-
If I were you, I'd.
Yeah. Yeah. I put yellow in there. That's the wrong shade of yellow.
That could be a little darker.
So you're honoring and respecting each other's
why
process.
did you do that? It was perfect the way it
Oh
was.
I
yeah.
liked it before.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Not feeling good
But,
today.
you know, but it is good to have somebody to bounce things off. You know, and you can feel their response to your work. That's valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's valuable.
Yeah.
But you've got to have enough restraint to
Sure.
just, to make sure that there's everybody's vision can.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, art in general, not about each other's work. Is it like something that you talk about, like over breakfast? Hey, did you see that book about bacon? Or I don't know. Just curious. Or is this-
We would go to a lot of shows together. Not so long ago since
Yeah.
we went to any shows, but
Right.
we would do that.
Then you were
So,
talking about work. Yeah. Yeah.
And otherwise,
Yeah. It's just
living together.
it's just about life, right? You just go on
Yeah.
about your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It has to help that you both work in not only in different media, but in very different styles.
Mhm.
You have a very different approach. If we were both kind of working in a similar-ish kind of vein, that could be a problem, couldn't it? 'Cause,
Hey,
you
yours-
might both go to the same show and get the same idea at the same time, and suddenly you've got twin versions of the same idea.
Right.
Somebody's lying.
Yes. And who stole from whom? And now I guess actually it would be interesting if you went to a show, you both were caught by something, struck by something, and you both did put it in a work in some way. But obviously it would come out very different.
It would come up.
I
Yeah.
don't think
It'd be interesting to
No.
see if there was something, like if you were able to say, yes, that little bit over there. Now run over and look at Kathryn's painting on the far right. There's a little bit up in the upper right, and they came from the same idea or the same place.
I can't ever see that happening.
Yeah.
I can't.
Or
Just
no,
because
like,
we,
fights over Jeff Koons or
Right.
I love his work. He's a
Yeah.
just respect each other's.
Jeff Koons is we probably agree on.
Okay, that's
So much of Ashley's work is abstract,
Yes.
and I enjoy parts a lot, and I wonder how he did that. I know now. I mean, I do know how he did that because he starts with a lot of bleed on the ground level,
Right.
which I would never do.
right, right.
Because I work on wood, so I have to have a ground and it's not going to, there will be no bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
But Ashley uses the bleed in really
Mhm.
interesting ways.
It's to provoke accident.
Sure.
And to.
With acrylic, that you can do that because it dries and
And
then
you've got to mind you.
Yeah.
This painting here took a week to dry.
I see you have some so with some of the gels and stuff probably would
It was just pigment, but
Okay.
It was
thick or
thick,
yeah.
thick and a lot of it.
It's very
And I
liquid.
had just waited and waited and waited.
Yeah.
Are these poured areas?
Some of it is
There are
poured.
some,
So
yeah, I
that-
could
that
see.
would take a
Yeah.
while to
I could
dry.
see the ones where they kind of
Yeah.
flow together. I love
These
that.
wiggles, Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we have. We want to thank both of you for
It's an amazing space. It's an amazing-
allowing us into your space and
Thank you very
sharing
much.
your space and your process with us.
We're lucky to have all the light we have.
This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My studio has daylight lighting bulbs, so I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
I don't-
Yeah. It is a lovely
Daylight's
space.
a big deal.
No, it's-
These
it's-
are
it's
not
tremendous.
daylight, but the ones.
Yeah, the fluorescent.
No, it's a wonderful spaces
Yeah.
to be working in, and
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. So, do you guys work like almost every day, or like different, like when you feel like it? What's your kind of?
I work a little bit, almost every day.
Okay.
When I don't know what to do, I leave it and I go on.
I think it just depends on what we have to do. Like a lot of the time, it's working
Sure.
for
Right.
something.
Right. So if you're doing.
We're both teaching now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So.
This will be my last fall. I'm going to retire. It's time to retire. But Ashley isn't going to retire.
Right. Now, are you teaching at the Toronto School of Art? Or?
No, I'm at Centennial. I teach
Oh, okay.
color.
Okay.
Studio.
And where do you teach?
I'm going to be doing that too.
Oh, at Centennial.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that sort of
That worked out.
opens up a whole other. We've interviewed a lot of artists who are teachers, and you know, you really see people who've been teaching for a long time. They've had to think a lot about art and their own process, and are very well spoken about it, and had a lot of ideas.
Do your students see your work? Do you have?
If I show them my work,
Yeah.
you know, I show them my work. Students don't usually say much.
Yeah.
Really? They don't. You don't.
They
sense
don't-
the response?
They don't know what to say.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah. They're not.
Their foundation year.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're just
Kind
like.
of off the
yeah.
street people sitting
Yeah.
there
Yeah. Yeah. Just.
or something, or not. Some of them are from university. But
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Some of them
Kind
go
of
and
fresh.
research you online and they've produced your work.
Yeah,
So
they
one or two
Sure.
find
They want to know who,
Yeah.
whether they should pay attention to this teacher. Do they know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
I've been we've been working. I've been doing this online teaching. So I've been painting online,
Oh, cool.
and
Yeah.
that's
That's really opened up, in the last 2 years.
I
like-
like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
And because I'm doing something, I don't normally paint with the students, but
So you're doing like an
I-
instructional thing where you're
yeah,
showing
it's
the
right there.
process.
It's, you can see
Yeah.
everything's right there. It's got the camera. It's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I think it's neat. And I'm doing, well, I'll do abstract and I'll do figurative. But
Well, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure.
That was amazing.
Um,